Alright, today we're going to go ahead and look at how to top off or fill up your hydraulic fluid for your tilt trim motor. So this is actually an 84 Johnson 115, and we're going to go ahead and top this thing off and kind of go through the steps. Probably the first thing that you want to know, and I do have another video of this on my channel, if you're having problems raising or lower the motor, which in this case the motor is whining, but the motor's not actually moving up or down, and so it's likely a hydraulic fluid issue. So in order to get this thing up or down, on the side of most of these motors, if you look in this little hole right here, there's a little kind of screw, and it's usually a flathead, and you want to take a fairly large flathead, kind of like this, because you don't want to strip this out. You want to be really careful with it. You want to stick it in there, and usually you're going to turn it counterclockwise. And what that's going to do is that's going to release the hydraulic there so that you can lift the motor manually up or down. So that's a good thing to know if you ever get stuck where your tilt trim motor is not working. So that was the first thing I had to do, was I turned the screw counterclockwise. What it did is it made it so that I could manually raise and lower this motor. So I lifted it up, and I basically I put this kind of kickstand thing down right here. And now I need to go ahead and I need to get access to the reservoir. So the hydraulic fluid reservoir on this motor is going to be right here, and you're going to access it by removing the screw. And this is also going to be removed in a counterclockwise fashion, just normal threads there. And I would just use the same screwdriver. You want a large screwdriver because you do not want to strip this screw. You want to be very careful, so you want to put a lot of pressure on it, and you want to turn it, and if you're lucky, it'll turn really easily. I actually already loosened mine off earlier. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to take the screw off. So we're going to remove it. Alright. So there's the screw. You want to be really careful. You don't want to lose this screw. And there's the reservoir. So what our goal is to basically fill this reservoir up with either hydraulic fluid or transmission fluid or something that is kind of similar. And we want to make sure that we fill it so that the fluid basically comes up and is even with the bottom of this lip here. We'll know that it's full because the fluid will start leaking out of this lip. So that's pretty much what we're doing. Now, the one important thing in this whole step is to make sure that your boat is fairly level, or at least that this is fairly level, because if it's not, that'll cause trouble. You want to make sure that this reservoir is level when you're filling it up and when you're kind of getting all the air out of the system here. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this thing is pretty level, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, now that I've got this is about as level as I can get it, what I want to do is I want to add in my fluid. So like I said earlier, depending on what fluid's in there is what you're probably going to use. So if the fluid that's in there is kind of like a pinkish or purplish color, then that's probably transmission fluid. And that's pretty much what I'm using here. Is you want to use Dextron 3 transmission fluid, ATF. This will work just fine. You can also buy hydraulic fluid. So if what you're pulling out of there, what you see coming out, is like a honey color, like a orangish yellowish color, that's probably regular hydraulic fluid, and you're going to want to replace it with that. So I would replace it with whatever is already in there. So I was able to tell by sticking something down in there that this is Dextron that's being used now. So that's what I'm going to refill it with. So I've got myself a quart of this transmission fluid here, and I've got myself a pump. This is one of the easier ways I found to do it. You can also use like a baby syringe if you have one of those. And so what I'm going to do here is we're just going to pump some of this into the reservoir. Then we're going to be putting the cap back on, and we're going to try and run it up or down and bleed the system of some air. And then we're just going to repeat that process. So we're going to do it again and again until the tilt trim motor is working and operating the way it's supposed to. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start pumping this. We'll give it a couple pumps, fill that up, and what we're waiting to see is hydraulic fluid start to spill out of there. So this thing best I could tell, looked like it was pretty low. So once it starts spilling out of there, and I don't want to screw this in. This one has a screw. This is the same pump that I use for lower gear lube. So I don't want to screw it in because I want to make sure that I can see. Alright, looks like it's coming out now. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my cap back on and wipe that off. Alright, I'm just going to kind of just hand tight it, because I'm going to be taking this right back off here in a second, hopefully. Alright, and I'm going to wipe that off, and then we're going to go ahead and basically take a look at it. Alright, I'm just using an old rag here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and try and start it and see, or not start it, but I'm going to go ahead and move the motor up or down, see if I get any action. Alright, so I am able to lower it and raise it now. Before I was getting nothing, but just I could hear the trim tilt motor moving, but I was getting nothing in response. It was not moving up or down. So what I'm doing is I'm just raising it fully and then lowering it a couple times. Alright. And what this is doing is this is going to compress that fluid, and when I open up that reservoir again, I should get some like foam or some bubbles come out. Now since I'm using Dexron 3 automatic transmission fluid, I'm not likely to get a lot of foaming. That stuff doesn't foam as much as regular hydraulic fluid might. So what I'm probably going to see is just a little bit of kind of air bubbles a little bit, and that's going to seep out. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some more fluid back in there, pump it in, let it seep out back that hole again, put the screw back on, and I'm going to repeat this process about 3 times. And after the 3rd time, you should basically get most of the air out, and then you should be good to go. So that was just a quick video on how to fill and top off your tilt trim motor fluid. Hopefully this helps anybody out. If you like this video, please click like or subscribe, or even throw in a comment there if you have anything to add. But thanks for watching.